المقابلات صعبة للغاية بالنسبة لي ولعائلتي. لا أتمنى هذا الشعور لأي شخص. لقد أثر ذلك علي سلبا. هناك تعاطف بالطبع، ولكن هناك أيضا الكثير من الشكوك. يتعين على الشرطة وفقا للإجراءات المعتادة استبعاد كيث كمشتبه به. تذكر الدليل المادي الوحيد في القضية، هاتف شيري المحمول وسماعات الأذن وخصلات من شعرها. تم اكتشافها وتقديمها من قبل كيث في صورتين. قام بالتقاطهما ثم سلمهما للسلطات. عندما رأيت كيف كان شكل ذلك الهاتف في الصورة، هل جعلك ما أرسله إليك تعتقد أنه ربما كان مدبرا؟ بدا وكأنه كان من الممكن وضعه هناك. بالإضافة إلى وضع سماعات الأذن فوق شاشة الهاتف، اختفت زوجتك. أجل، لكنك أيضا المشتبه به الرئيسي. لم أكن أبدا. شعرت أنك لم تشعر أبدا أنني. ألم يخطر ببالي في البداية أن الناس سيعتقدون أنني أنا؟ كنت أعرف أنه ليس هو. لمتشكك شيلا، الأخت الكبرى لشيري، قدت في براءة زوج أختها. تقول إن شيري كانت أمًا خارقة، وكيث كان سوبرمان. كانت تأمل أن طفلك أو ابنتك سيجدان. ستجد ابنتك شخصا محبا ومخلصا لزوجه إلى هذا الحد. لإزالة أي شكوك، وافق كيث بابيني على الخضوع لاختبار كشف الكذب. استمر الاختبار لساعات. هل سألوك عما إذا كان لك أي علاقة باختفاء شيري؟ بالطبع، وكنت مثلهم. قلت لا مشكلة، فلنسرع وننهي هذا الأمر. استغرق الأمر 9 أيام تقريبا قبل تبرئته من الشبهات. نعم، لماذا استغرقنا كل هذا الوقت؟ هل كشفت لك مئات المعلومات التي تم الحصول عليها من خلال تحليل بيانات الهاتف المحمول وبيانات أبراج الاتصالات؟ الهواتف وسجلات المكالمات وأجهزة كمبيوتر وكل تلك الأشياء أيضا. نعم، لقد اجتاز بابيني اختبار كشف الكذب، وقال الشريف تأمبوسينكو إنه ليس مشتبها به. لذا بدأ المحققون بمتابعة أكثر من 400 معلومة خارجية، لكن لم يؤدي أي منها إلى معرفة مكان وجود شيري بابيني. لا يوجد مشتبه بهم. لا توجد أي معلومات مفيدة. هل بدأت تفقد الأمل؟ لا أعتقد أنني فقدت الأمل يوما، لكن الأمر كان حقا. كان ينهش الطعام. أقصد بشكل كبير. أشعر بغضب وإحباط شديدين وأنا خائف. بدأت عائلة بابيني حملة تبرعات عبر موقع كوفندمي لزوجتي، وبدأت التبرعات تتدفق. 2550 جمع مبلغ $100 ما يقارب $50,000، وكل ذلك للعثور عليها، وهي فكرة ثورية من متبرع مجهول. بمعزل عن العائلة التي عرضت فدية مقابل عودة شيري سالمة، فأنت لا تعرف من هو الشخص المجهول. لا، الأمر مجهول بالنسبة لك أيضا. نعم. يصدر المتبرع المجهول تعليماته للخاطفين المفترضين بالاتصال بمفاوض معين محترف في هذا المجال الغامض. اسمي كاميرون غامبل، وأنا مستشار دولي في قضايا الفدية المتعلقة بالاختطاف. لقد تم التعاقد معي من قبل شخص يرغب في عدم الكشف عن هويته. حسناً، من هو هذا الرجل؟ هو جندي سابق برتبة عالية في سلاح الجو، ويعمل الآن في تدريب قوات إنفاذ القانون العسكرية. حتى المواطنين العاديين يتعلمون كيفية التهرب من الأسر والهروب منه. وتختلف بيئات الأسر هذه باختلاف مناطق العالم. التقينا به في مركز التدريب الخاص به والمجهز بأجهزة محاكاة عمليات الاختطاف مثل حاوية الشحن هذه. وصف غامبل كيف أن فنونه المظلمة تجعلك على ثقة تامة بأن هذا كان اختطافا وليس شيئا آخر. كل ما نظرت إليه كان مناسبا. انظر إلى الزوج لترى إن كانت تستمع. أردت أن أقول إننا نحاول نحن نبذل قصارى جهدنا، لكنه لم يكن يفكر. انظروا إلى شيري نفسها، فهي ليست من النوع الذي سيتخلى عن كل ذلك ببساطة. أصبح كيث يائسا الآن، حتى أنه فكر في اللجوء إلى العرافين. لذلك عندما اتصل به غامبل طالبا الإذن بتجربة أسلوب أكثر عدوانية، وافق على أنه لا يوجد فكرة، أو ظن أنني إذا اعتقدت أن الأمر قد ينجح فلن أحاول. بعد مرور 12 يوما على اختفاء شيري بابيني، نشر غامبل هذا الفيديو الاستفزازي على الإنترنت للترويج للفدية. لا أعرف دوافعك. لا أعرف من أنت. لا يهمني. كل ما يهمني هو استعادة شيري. هل توقعت يوما أن يتصل بك أحدهم ويقول لدي نبيذ شيري؟ أريد المال. كنت متفائلا. كنت مقتنعا تماما بأن شيري لا تزال على قيد الحياة، فدخلت هذه المواقف وأنت تعتقد أنها ماتت، ثم فقدت الأمل منذ البداية. يعتبر غامبل بمثابة ورقة رابحة بالنسبة لأجهزة إنفاذ القانون. هو مصدر إزعاج أكثر منه حل للمشاكل، وسيقول منتقدوك إن هذا مجرد حيلة دعائية. بإمكانهم قول ما يشاءون. أنا لا أفعل هذا من أجل النقاد، أفعل هذا من أجل العدد القليل من الأشخاص الذين يهمونني حقا، وهم كيث وشيري. لكن كان هناك معارضون كبار لهذا الأمر، وكان هذا الشريف معارضا بشدة. نعم، أرحب بمشاركة كاميرون غامبل بأي شكل من الأشكال. كنت سأفعل كل ما بوسعي لاستعادة زوجتي. وجاءت المحاولة التالية للمقامرة في 23 من نوفمبر، أي قبل يوم واحد. في عيد الشكر ينشر مقطع فيديو ثانيا على الإنترنت: العالم يبحث عن شيري بابيني، والآن العالم سيبحث عنك. أيا كانت، أبلغ غامبل خاطفي شيري المزعومين أن الفدية لم تعد مطروحة. أنا آسف لأنك لم تستغل هذه الفرصة عندما أتيحت لك، بل إنه يضاعف جهوده في دعوة للعمل يطلب فيها من الجمهور العثور على شيري مقابل مبلغ أكبر. هل كانت المكافأة دعوة لصائدي الجوائز؟ أقصد كيف عبرت عنها. قلت: لا يهمني وضعك الإجرامي، لا يهمني إن كان هناك شخص متعب ينتظر، لا يهمني من أنك إذا استطعت أن تدلنا على شيري وسنعطيك نقودا أكثر مما تستطيع إنفاقه. أردت أن أجعل الأمر مغريا للغاية لدرجة أن الخاطفين أو الأم كانوا سيسلمونه. فماذا فكرت حينها؟ مما يجعلها مكافأة. عندما انقضى الموعد النهائي للفدية كنت موافقا تماما على ذلك، أعني. لكن هل ستؤتي رهانات كاميرون ثمارها؟ عندما نعود، تلك اللحظة التي من شأنها أن تقشعر لها الأبدان، كنت أرغب فقط في رؤيتها. لذلك ركضت متجاوزا الجميع، ثم فتحت الستار فوجدتها هناك مع استمرار عام 2020. يبدأ كيث بابيني احتفاله بالشكر في الساعة 3:30 صباحا. يهرب من برد شمال كاليفورنيا الحارق ومعاناة اليوم 22 بدون حبيبته شيري.
We wanted to do something very special. A real close person in my life mentioned, well, what about a balloon release? You know, we're all looking for you, and here's just a symbol, here's home. And I really like that.
The knife-thrust pain of missing Sherri is a constant companion, as is his constantly ringing cell phone.
Very early in the morning, Thanksgiving Day, you get a phone call.
It rang. I think I was shaving at the time. So I kind of looked over and I did not recognize the number.
You didn't pick it up.
I didn't hear it in time because I only got the last 2 rings.
But that wasn't just any call he missed. It was the call he'd been praying for.
Immediately after that, my home phone rang. I pick it up. It was my wife screaming in the background, yelling my name, and a CHP officer said, I need you to be calm, I need you to be calm.
Well, are you panicked at first? You're hearing her scream.
I'm panicked, but I'm happy, because I at this point, this is the first time I've heard her voice. I know she's alive.
And you hear?
And I hear screaming. So then I get the phone, and oh my God, honey, and of course she's screaming, it's very emotional, and I love you, I love you, I love you, oh my God, you're here, you're back, where are you?
Where was she? And how did she get free from her captors? Sherri hasn't spoken publicly yet. The account of her release comes solely from what she told police and her husband.
She was bound. She had a chain around her waist. She had a bag over her head. I can't remember if it's her right or her left arm was chained to the chain, and her left hand was in the vehicle chained to something.
Make sure she didn't jump out of the car.
Yeah, they cut something to free her restraint that was holding her into the vehicle, pushed her out, and drove away. Sherri has one free hand and took a bag off of her head. And she has, at this point, has no idea where she's at. She runs to a house and didn't look. What she said was very inviting. She ran to another building, could not get into that building, and then ran to the freeway.
Stranded in the middle of nowhere, Sherri feels her only chance at rescue is to flag down a motorist on the highway.
People were driving past her and not stopping. In her mind, she's frightened, she's scared, she's screamed so much. She said she was coughing up, like blood from the screaming, trying to get somebody to, stop. Just another sign of how my wife is. She's so wonderful. But she's saying, well, maybe people aren't stopping because I have a chain. It looks like I broke out of prison. So she tried to tuck in her chain under her clothes. I don't know what reaction anybody has to that, but to me, I'm just like,
I'm just impressed that she thought of that.
4 a.m. and Allison Sutton happens to be driving down I-5 North, one of millions of Americans on the road to visit family for Thanksgiving.
I was in the right-hand lane and I saw a woman frantically waving what looked like a shirt, trying to flag somebody down. She had like a wide-eyed, panicked kind of look. I was startled to see her. It was dark, and she pretty much just came out of nowhere. If I had swerved to the right at least a little bit, I would have hit her with my car. I figured if she was willing to risk being hit by a car trying to get somebody's attention, that she must really need some help. I pulled off and I dialed 911.
911 emergency.
Rescue workers raced to the scene, the silence of the early morning now filling with sirens and the crackle of radio chatter.
Attention Station 8, unknown medical problem. It's going to be northbound I-5. Female needs medical attention. She is heavily battered. It's going to be some sort of an assault.
Sherri is found in Yolo County, 150 miles from her Redding, California home. Disoriented from 22 days in captivity, she has no idea what time it is or even what day it is.
The paramedics finally were talking to her. They were the first people to tell her, Happy Thanksgiving. And then she's like, oh, it's Thanksgiving night? And they said, no, it's Thanksgiving morning.
Now, after that pre-dawn phone call, Keith is breaking every speed limit to get to the hospital where Sherri's been taken.
The entire hospital was on lockdown. Eventually, they opened the door.
The woman who's behind the curtain doesn't look like the wife and mother smiling back in countless family photos.
One of the officers kind of braced me and kind of put his arm around me, and he said, prepare yourself. She's alive, and you just got to be happy. They branded her. So I just wanted to see her, so I just ran past everybody, and I, throw open the curtain, and she was there in a bed, in her poor face. And I just hugged her, I just held her. I felt like I hugged her for 20 minutes. I was so happy that she was there, and I was just kissing her all over, and then I got nauseated just looking at her. It was so hard for me to see her like that. And
Keith, a couple of times you said her face, her poor face. Yeah. What did you see?
The bruises were just intense, the bumps from, being hit and kicked and whatever else. Everybody gets a bruise once in a while, but not these types. I mean, these are hard to look at. Her hair, she's always had very long blonde hair. They chopped it off.
I just need to know, because I was worried that when you first said her face, that they didn't brand her face, right?
I will say that no, it's not on her face, no.
She lost almost 15% of her body weight in 22 days.
Oh, yeah.
That is traumatic physically.
Oh, yeah. It made me sick that there is people out there that could do something like this. I just wanted to hold her, and we just embraced each other and cried together, and I was so happy though. How do you explain it? You're upset and everything at what happened, but you're happy.
As Thanksgiving morning begins to dawn, the miraculous return of Sherri Papini has not yet reached her Redding community. They gather as planned to release those balloons in the hopes of Sherri's safe homecoming. 2 hours later, the community learns their efforts were not in vain. Sherri Papini would be home for Thanksgiving.
Sherri Papini, the Shasta County mother, missing for 3 weeks, has been found alive.
The crisis may be over, but the mystery remains. Who took Sherri and why?
You're really looking at somebody that's trying to break her will. That's what they do in cults.
When 2020 continues. The ordeal which shattered Sherri and Keith Papini's world is over. Now the police are focused on the big questions. Who did this and why?
This is simply the start of the next chapter in a very active investigation.
On the day she was found, investigators are only able to get the barest nugget from the traumatized Sherri.
Which was 2 Hispanic female adults driving a dark SUV. Anybody?
2 Hispanic females in a dark-colored SUV in the state of California is not much of a tip.
No, it would be literally a needle in a haystack.
But the next day, Sherri Papini is talking to police, part of a series of interviews in which she slowly opens up with more details of her abduction.
Did she know the people she was with?
No.
Did she ever see them?
I will share with you that their faces were always covered. I can tell you that there was, guns involved.
Was she overpowered?
She didn't voluntarily get into a vehicle, if that's what you're asking.
Very few people get abducted just in broad daylight. But the fact that there were 2 women who were allegedly behind this is even more shocking.
But also makes more sense to me.
Why?
If a vehicle pulled up with 2 big dudes in it, would you approach that vehicle being a 100-pound woman? If 2 women pull up and let's say they ask you for help, that makes more sense to me.
Investigators say those women drove Sherri about 2.5 hours nonstop that first day. And Sherri told them that her kidnappers spoke Spanish most of the time.
She literally lived through hell. The things she told me that she did. Acting like she was tucking in her kids, and she told me one time she took some piece of cloth and rolled it up like it was violet. She would rock hit it. She's so strong.
That's the will to survive.
Yeah.
Suspect number 1 had long, curly hair. Sir.
2 days ago, Sheriff Basenko went public with more details.
She had a thick accent. She had pierced ears. Suspect number 2 had straight black hair with some graying color. She had thick eyebrows.
Details are few since Sherri said her captors kept all but their eyes covered. Police then follow it up by gently trying to tease out more morsels of memory from the fragile Sherri.
Everything becomes important. The crack in the door, an unusual picture on the wall. What did it smell like? What did it feel like? All of those things may give you proximity, particularly as you get closer to potential suspects in a case.
There are several theories police could be pursuing. First up, Keith's good friend Dale says the beautiful local scenery hides a dark underbelly.
There are a lot of bad folks around the country, and when you start digging up these rocks and looking under, maybe more so than people even understand.
We found local residents talking of meth houses and police drug raids, and there are other serious concerns.
While this area is really sparsely populated, what it does have a lot of are sex offenders. There are apparently about 25 registered sex offenders who live within 3 miles of right here.
But police say they checked those leads and found nothing. Yet another theory. Keith himself and Sherri are behind an elaborate hoax. There's been some speculation online and skepticism in some media.
Many reports have said that this was a little bit of a attention-seeking kind of couple, sort of a reality show ready to go.
Keith vehemently denies it all, writing that rumors, assumptions, and hate have been both exhausting and disgusting.
I think these people take cheap shots no matter what.
I can't believe that somebody would get beaten that severely just to try to make some money.
To Cameron Gamble, Sherri's brutal injuries point to yet another theory. Sherri's skin burned multiple times, police saying that vicious branding was a message, not a symbol.
If you look at just human trafficking alone, a branding is something that would be done to mark a girl from a pimp or an organization. If that is, in fact, what happened here.
ABC News crime expert Brad Garrett finds that sex trafficking theory doubtful.
If you're going to traffic somebody, are you going to starve them, beat them, and cut their hair? You're going to do the opposite of that. You want them to look presentable so that they're, to use their words, a commodity to market.
As a former FBI profiler, he has a very different theory, based on Sherri's 22 days of what Keith said were intense physical agony and severe mental torture.
You're really looking at somebody that's trying to break her will and destroy her identity from the past. I mean, that's what they do in cults, to brainwash her into whatever they want her to be.
And if that's the case, he says they could still be holding other captives and even be on the hunt for more. What can you tell the people who live here to reassure them that whoever did this to Sherri, plucking her right off this stretch of road, is not still out here?
We don't know if this was a random abduction or a targeted abduction, but people should always take precautions for their safety.
Wife is back with our family, and
Still, Keith is less interested in the why than in the what's next for his family. When we return, their healing begins with an emotional reunion.
I remember my little 4-year-old's like, "Mommy, why are you crying? You don't cry when you're happy." And my wife said, "When you're this happy, you cry."
Just over a week after his Thanksgiving miracle,
Sherri Papini has been located.
A rush of relief.
I was ecstatic.
Hallelujah!
She and Keith have been reunited.
Keith Papini is still marveling over all that he has to be thankful for.
I had such a great support from my family, my friends, the whole community, the whole world reached out, and I'm so grateful for that.
But as of tonight, so many questions about this case remain unanswered.
The most horrific thing that you could ever have imagined literally almost came right to your front door.
Correct, and that's the mystery. Why? I don't have the answer, and I can't explain it.
The investigation is far from over. In fact, it has only begun a new chapter.
The threat could still be present. Nobody knows who did it or why they did it or where they are. And that's got to be terrifying for a dad like you.
It's terrifying, but you know what? My family's with me now. I think of it differently now. Clearly, I want justice.